Hi everyone, this is TJ from Avid, and in this video we're going to be checking out MBOX Studio from the perspective of a guitarist. Like most audio interfaces, there are instrument inputs on the front panel of the MBOX Studio. This allows you to plug in an electric guitar or bass without the need of a direct box. But what is unique to MBOX Studio is the added benefit of variable Z on these inputs. This makes it easy to dial in the perfect feel and tone for whatever situation is at hand. This could be anything from connecting into a stomp box at the front of your effects chain, a tube amp simulation input, or even direct into a console like the Beatles and Prince have done. These settings can also be utilized when using the interface's effects loops and reamping functions. MBOX Studio has two analog effect sends and returns on the rear of the interface. These can be used to connect line-level effects such as delay, reverbs, and multi-effect units. Or the sends can be set to high Z for connecting with stomp box pedals. Let's connect the boost overdrive pedal to effects loop 1. On the back of the interface, connect one end of an instrument cable to the effects sends 1 jack under effects loops. Connect the other end of this cable to the pedal's input. Now connect one end of another instrument cable to the output of the pedal. Then connect the other end of this cable to line in 7 under effects returns on the back of the interface. To switch on the high Z settings for connecting to the pedal input, let's check out the MBOX Control app. In the software, select the effects send 1 hardware output channel and click on the high Z indicator. We now have our pedal connected and ready to be accessed from the interface. For setting up to record through Pro Tools, we're going to need to do a couple of things. First, in the MBOX Control software, select the effects send 1 hardware output channel like we have now, and adjust the mic line instrument channel fader in the hardware input section to set the level going to the pedal. Remember that you can always option click or alt click if you use a Windows machine on the fader to set it to the default setting. You can adjust the level depending on what sound you're after. The last thing I'm going to do is change my impedance for my guitar coming into MBOX Studio to something like 230K. That's what an overdrive pedal really craves. Now, let's go over to Pro Tools. We've created a mono track and set its input to effects return 7. This is going to allow us to hear and record the input with the pedal in its path. We also have the amazing BX Megadual plugin on this track because I want to simulate the feel of an overdrive pedal going into the front of a tube amp. So let's close out of this. I'm going to grab my guitar and let's hear what that sounds like. Perfect. We're showing this with the guitar as an example, but you can use these loops for any type of input, from drum loops all the way to vocals. On the front panel of the MBOX Studio, there's also a 1/4-inch output for sending to a guitar amplifier. This output is always set to a high Z output and has a ground lift that can be switched on from the MBOX Control software. Note that this is a shared output with effects send 2, so one or the other can be used at a time. Let's set up to reamp a track out of Pro Tools. First, we're going to connect a 1/4-inch instrument cable to the front panel high Z out to amp jack. Connect the other end of the instrument cable to the input of your guitar amp. In Pro Tools, I have a recorded track saved right here under a different playlist, and we're going to assign the output of this track to any mono MBOX send output. We're going to use output 6 for this particular example. Back over in MBOX Control, we're going to select effects send 2 out to amp in the hardware output section of the MBOX Control software. Engage the ground lift if you're hearing a hum of any kind. Now, from the software input section, adjust the channel 6 fader to send the audio from the Pro Tools track to the connected guitar amp. Now place a mic on the guitar amp speaker, connect the mic cable from the mic to input 2 on the interface, select input 2 on the MBOX Studio by pressing the left input encoder, and make sure the input is set to mic. Create a new audio track in Pro Tools and set its input to mic instrument line 2. Put the track into record or input And now you can adjust the mic input level from the interface's input encoder. First, I'm gonna bypass this BX Megadual plugin so we get the raw guitar sound. And let's hear what it sounds like running through the amp. In our next video, we're gonna take all the concepts that we've discussed up until this point, and we're gonna utilize some of our favorite features from MBOX Studio to make a full track start to finish. Make sure to join us for that one, as it's gonna be a lot of fun. And as always, thanks for hanging out with us. We will see you next time.